Indian film industry is massive. Why can't India become the number one? The last 2023 figure, the box office collection of India just for films, live apart OTT, was 12,000 crore. There are plenty of options for the people who are actually looking to make a career in this. Brahmastra got the national award for the best VFX. One thing is very clear that India is showcasing that they are no more the back offices of VFX in India. RRR, all of us have seen, Pushpa, the way, this Kantara, few of the notable ones I would like to, comment. At the end of the day, since it's filmmaking, everything revolves around storytelling. India will be creating for global audience. It will grow. It will rapidly grow from here with digital layers coming in.
Indian film industry is massively growing. It grew to over 197 billion Indian rupees in the year 2023. What are some career options in filmmaking? What is the future of filmmaking in India? To know answers to these questions, let's welcome our guest today, Mr. Abir Aich, who is the Vice President at the Virtual Production Academy by APTECH. Hi Abir, welcome you to the Crazy Careers podcast. It is really our absolute honor to have you here.
Thanks, Anita. It's a pleasure of mine to be here and sharing insights.
So before we get into the actual conversation, tell us a bit about yourself and what you do.
I have been into the media and entertainment space for, more than 2 decades now. Started year 1998 is when I got into this industry, and I had played various roles, right from a creative professional to an educator, and obviously currently in my capacity as an EVP in AppTech, I handle the strategy of the M&E portfolio and brands like Arena, Mac, virtual production, and bringing in innovations and technology in education space and how it will impact the overall learning process for our students.
Right. So basically, I can understand is like you are into filmmaking industry. Is it correct?
Yes. I have been a filmmaker myself also prior to getting into a corporate role. But yes, we do train students on subjects like filmmaking, animation, virtual production, which are ancillary areas of filmmaking.
Right. What are some career options in filmmaking that maybe I'm sure like most of the students watching this podcast would be interested to pursue their career in filmmaking. So what are some career options in it if you can point out in this?
In fact, the list is endless. I think it's a good question because as you will be publishing this in a crazy careers and people looking to make a career in filmmaking will be interested to hear about what I speak about this question. Of course, the most dominant ones, if you see in filmmaking as a process, what comes to our mind is the directors, the producers, who have been, what to say, taking the limelight over the years. But if you see, there are endless, number of people who are actually working behind the scenes, like, the cinematographers, let's say, who actually, make the film look beautiful through the different, camera angles or the way the lighting has been put up in the screen space or what we call it as a studio. Then we have the editors, right, who cuts those films and show us the story when it gets done. There are sound editors who makes the impact. Now any film without a sound will never look
Right.
interesting or neither sound interesting. Apart from this traditional filmmaking roles, what has happened? Technology is becoming a very mainstream thing in filmmaking process these days. So what has happened, if you see in last 15, 20 years of how the filmmaking process or the landscape has changed, we are now seeing even VFX artists, animators, virtual production supervisors playing a very, very important role, to create those larger than life look and feel what we see in films. So right from the traditional, career options of filmmaking, what we mentioned, to this new era tech-related career option, there are plenty of option for the people who are actually looking to make a career in this.
Right. How big is this industry in India?
Oh, Indian film industry, Anita, is massive. Massive is the right word I can say. If you see, to just put a context to it, Bollywood alone, the numbers which are recorded by industry report, churns around 1,000 plus movies. That's only Bollywood. Now, in India, we know the dominance of the regional, sectors. Like then we have a Collywood, then we have a Tollywood, then we have a Mollywood, Bengali films. Put together, I think it's huge. And the last 2023 figure, the box office collection of India just for films, leave apart OTT, was 12,000 crore. So you can understand if that's the size of the industry. It is not only a industry per se. It also adds up a lot of economic value to the overall country. There are lakhs and lakhs of jobs which are connected to this industry. There are mainstream actors. There are post-production houses who are working there. There are companies, distribution companies like PVR or other people who runs theaters. Then there are other distribution companies, production houses. So it's a complete ecosystem which is connected to film. So it's in one word I could say it's massive.
Right. Generative AI is taking all over the space right now. So, I mean, are there any integration of AI and machine learning happening in film industry?
Yeah, I think this trend has started, a couple of years back in Hollywood, and as uh, Bollywood has always been, very fast in adopting, new trends. So AI and machine learning has seriously changing the way films were produced in the yesteryears. What has happened is that rather than people being shying away and trying to fear that, it will take away jobs from people, what is important to understand for new age filmmaker or even yesteryear's filmmaker who are adopting to this new landscape is how AI and machine learning is increasing the efficiency in the overall content production. I would not restrict it to only filmmaking because filmmaking is a part of our overall content creation process. So content creation process is getting more democratized with AI filmmaking. For example, if you have a story today in your mind, we have AI tools which will help you to visualize faster rather than depending upon some visualizer where you tell the story and they visualize for you. It's very tough, since as a filmmaker, if I have a story and you are my artist who is creating a storyboard, uh, defining what I want in my head, what is there as a picture, it's very difficult to articulate it the way I want to artist who will then sketch it up for me to see that this is whether I want this or not. So what is happening with these AI tools? The pre-visualization stage is becoming more democratized. People are using it to create quick, rapid prototype of sketches. We are getting client approvals faster. So overall, it is increasing the efficiency. But yeah, this is only one part. There are many areas in filmmaking which AI and filmmaking these days used.
Right. So, this virtual production is something that is booming up these days. So, you are an expert in that also. So, I mean, what exactly it is and what is the scope in future for virtual production?
Yeah, this is a very interesting question. One is what is virtual production, and then how it is really, changing the, way film is probably created, or I would say video production is created. To start off, for a layman's language, it's actually a very, very interesting and game-changing technology, right? Uh, to give you a little bit of rollback, see, we all play games, and one of the most interesting aspect of game is everything is interactive. Like for example, if you turn to the left-hand side while walking in a battle game, you see a different, sort of a environment. This side, if you go to the other side, you see a different environment, and it's all real time happening, right? As you cross through a environment of a game, be it a battle game or be it just a role playing game or maybe a car racing game. The environments are rapidly changing real time. Now, this best practices of gaming is now getting synergized with filmmaking. So, what I mean to say, just think of in early days when we used to shoot a film, I think you have also seen, that what directors used to do, they used to film the whole thing in front of a big blue screen cyclorama or a green screen cyclorama,
Yeah.
and then later on is to, what we call it is fix it in post. They used to remove those frame by frame and probably create a, different virtual environment to place those actors or the performers in front of a different world. Now, with the advent of virtual production, what is happening, these are all real time. You don't need to see this after taking it from the studio. What we are doing, this whole green screens are getting replaced by huge, gigantic LED screens, which actually is showing, virtual environments or very high fidelity graphics, and performers are actually acting in front of the screen and while the filming is going on. So what you are actually doing, you're transporting these characters or the performers in a place which otherwise would have been very difficult for taking the whole movie production crew there and probably filming it that way. So I'll give you a small example of something which Rado, I don't know whether you have seen that ad. Recently, there was an ad of Rado which was published where Katrina Kaif was filmed. The whole concept was she was filmed in front of a desert. So, and this particular ad commercial was completely done in a studio environment in Annapurna in Hyderabad in flat one day, rather than taking her as well as her support staff and a crew to maybe Rajasthan or Jaisalmer for the shoot. So this is possible. This sort of a thing is possible today with virtual production being in the main stage, and more and more filmmakers, ad filmmakers, or short format filmmakers or content creators are experimenting it. It's just the start. You just scratch the surface, I would say, and I think it is surely going to change a lot of thought processes, the way filmmakers are looking at it.
Right, right. So, will it be correct to say that virtual production is actually making the production cost way lower than what it was earlier?
Uh, if you talk of a production cost, if I have understood it correctly, what you said, there is a split theory today in filmmaker community, if you may say. Uh, if you talk of virtual production, if the thought process is creating the whole film in virtual production, like similar to what we have seen when Mandalorian was launched, and that was more of a forced workflow, I would say, because everything was shut during COVID, and filmmakers had no other option to adapt to the process of VP or virtual production, what we call, and created the whole series of the film in a virtual production process. That is costly because you are trying to force feed everything through that process, and technology is not cheap currently in India. But
Right.
if you're visualizing a film where the most complicated stuff or the ones which otherwise would have been very costly to do, if those partial work are done on virtual production today, I think it saves a lot of time. It saves time is money in production, right? It saves a lot of effort, as well as everything is real time. You don't need to haggle with the production house later post filming that fix it here, fix it there, iterations
Right.
going on here and there. So yeah, if you can save time in a production, it's money. So indirectly, you are saving a cost.
Right. What are some new production techniques or trends that Bollywood is adopting currently?
But yeah, I would like to probably highlight certain things which really would be insightful for people who are listening to this podcast. One is,
Yeah.
Bollywood has always been, as I said earlier, also it adopts to technology very fast. It's not only Bollywood, I would say, even the regional films are adopting newer technologies very fast. I just mentioned a lot of filmmakers, or I would say indie filmmakers, are adopting AI and machine learning for, or rather, I would say Gen AI tools to incorporate in their filmmaking process. There are, tools, nifty tools, which script writers are using to, analyze the script, whether the script will really bind the audience at a certain segment of the, I would say, film. Then you have seen that recently last year with the release of Brahmastra, and Brahmastra got the national award for the best VFX. One thing is very clear that India is showcasing that they are no more the back offices of VFX in India, right? They are competing with the quality VFX which even of international standard. So we are seeing more and more VFX films, or rather VFX getting used by producer to bring an idea to life. I think these are the trends which are adopting very, very fast. And I would see more and more VFX getting used even in OTT. If you see today, OTT, content which is coming in, production houses are spending a huge amount of money to uh, creating those fancy visual effects shot, which I think 3, 4 years back, even films wouldn't have dreamed to have it. So these are the trends which are at the top of the mind, which Bollywood is adopting. Apart from that, I think the regional adoption is also very fast. RRR, all of us have seen, Pushpa, the way, this Kantara, few of the notable ones I would like to, comment. The way visual effects treatment and other treatments are brought in this regional films, I think it's commendable by the filmmakers. Hats off to all of them.
Right. What is an essential skill that an aspiring filmmaker must have?
I think this question, Nita, I probably have heard it many times whenever I have been to, many college seminars or symposiums or forums where, you get to meet people who are looking into a serious career option in this particular segment. I think one thing for all the listeners, all of them run behind technology, and we are also talking about virtual production, we are talking about AI, and there are so many other tech buzzwords around. But one thing is very, very critical for this aspiring filmmakers to understand is at the end of the day, since it's filmmaking, everything revolves around storytelling. I think that's no question about it. There is one skill that every filmmaker needs to have. It's the power of storytelling in the way they are actually telling the story. It's like, I give an example. If I give you a pen and a pencil and I tell you to draw, and the other person also the same pen and pencil and tell him to draw, obviously both your renditions will be completely different, right? So the pen and the pencil is not really the important aspect over here. It's the thought process or the, visual idea which that individual had, or, at that given point of time, will bring up a rendition which people will appreciate. So, on this point, storytelling is obviously something one should be very focused on. Apart from that, since technology layers are important these days to work fast, be efficient, it's important for them to shed their inhibitions and start adopting and evolving fast with the changing dynamics of the industry. That is critical. Without naming anybody, I have seen even yesterday's filmmaker, they are very worried about adopting to anything new, which is like, we are in our comfort zone. Why you need to really do this? I've been doing this linearly for many years, so why can't we continue doing this the way? But that's not the way. So, like virtual production, we have been talking about, right? Filmmakers in
Right.
India is still thinking, is it the right choice? Is it the right way? Can I do this? They come to us, they speak to us, they come to our floor to test shots. But what exactly the challenge is, they always try to do a comparison of what we are doing currently with what is there now. So it's important for the young filmmakers to have a balance. They need to strike a balance between a linear process. They need to strike a balance between adoption of technology and how do we make our content creation process more efficient. I think that that's something which is important. So for the budding filmmakers, my suggestion is keep everything around the fact you need to communicate a story. Pick up the best process to communicate that story, because at the end of the day, nobody will give you any award or laurels because you have done the film on a virtual production or a Gen AI or using a VFX. People will appreciate the fact that you have created a fantastic content. I think that's would be the primary goal of the filmmakers.
Right. So, what are some scopes for freelancer filmmakers of the country? I mean, in our country, because I can see a lot of freelance filmmakers are there. Apart from like having a day-to-day job to, do the filmmaking. So, what are the scopes for them?
I think this is a very interesting space, Nita, to be honest, because if you see, earlier a filmmaker could have only thought of creating a film if he or she would have a backup of a big production house for a
Right.
theatrical release, rather, I would say. But today, I think with digital media coming in, I think this has made freelancing option look the best option today in the current scenario, if you ask me. And today, you can make a film. You can just grab a camera. You have a story in your mind. You just grab a good camera, with a good resolution is as affordable as never it would have been probably. Go out, do a shooting, and probably publish in a platform like a YouTube and Vimeo. And that's what today filmmaking have come from those 50 years back where you used to have the Yash Rajas of the world only, without trying to sound too, bias about few names. But that's a reality, right? 50 years back, if somebody would have wanted to make a film, the only way either you have to go to a film school, understand the process of filmmaking, come out, look for a film camera, which is like high budget film cameras, have a backup of a production house. But today, cut to chase 2024, even a iPhone. I met a group of filmmakers, young filmmakers, couple of days back, and I was surprised to know that they have created a film which is getting showcased in Cannes Film Festival while we are talking now, and it was shot in iPhone, right? So that's what filmmaking today is. Everybody can be a filmmaker. We have a powerhouse in our hand. Everybody has a decent camera which supports an HD and full HD resolution. You have a story, you create a storyboard with the help of a Gen AI tool, visualize that, create a film, publish it on YouTube. So that's how I would say accessible the technology is to the filmmaker. So if you're a freelancer, I think this is the best time to learn the traits of filmmaking. But yeah, you need to learn it. It's not that one fine day you just pick up a camera and start shooting left and right. There are nuances, there are theories, there are concepts in filmmaking which one needs to understand.
Right. India as a country is making a lot of beautiful films, like let it be like feature films, documentary films, short films. But why do you think, what is exactly holding us back to get Oscars more often?
Yeah, it's a tricky question to answer. Oscar has always been a benchmark for filmmaking and appreciation of filmmaking, on that way if you see. But if
Right.
you see the recent years, I think last 5, 6 years, at least we should be happy that our films are making it to the Oscar. If you see the last year, that documentary of a small elephant, which
Yes.
made to Oscar, and we were fortunate to win that Oscar in the short film category, is itself a testament of freelance independent filmmaker going right up to the Oscar, right? So yes, I think we have taken the right step. Filmmakers, the young filmmakers or the recent filmmakers, they are going in the right direction, and there has to be some starting point. I think last 4 5 years have been a continuous effort of even information and broadcasting ministry to promote our films in international festivals. I think with the due leadership of Honorable Prime Minister, pushing media and entertainment industry in the forefront. And if you have recently heard the 15th August speech of Honorable Prime Minister, he had made it very clear that India will be creating for global audience. I think that statement itself is a big thing for content creators in India. We always wanted this appreciation, this what to say, recognition, which I think the distance is not too far. We have already got received Oscar for short film category last year, and I'm sure about it with the amount of skilled talent which we have in India. If they get that deserving push or right skilling, which we as in APTECH we are also committed to, I think we should hear some further good news on that Oscar platform coming in coming years.
Right. Where we are standing as a nation in terms of filmmaking compared to other countries.
It's massive, as I said. Indian film industry. If you see the global film industry, actually keep a very close step to Indian film industry. Obviously, it all started with Bollywood, but today it's not restricted to Bollywood alone. With digital media, with regional landscapes, with regional films getting into so much of traction, I guess we are very very big. We are just after Hollywood, if you see in that context, right? Yeah, we do have a Chinese film industry which is also quite big. So currently, if you see in the mix of the biggest film industry, which is in terms of sheer volume and sheer, I would say, consumption, because of our population, what China commands, we also command the same thing. Because at the end of the day, when you create films, people has to see it. It has to do good. It has to churn out money. It's obviously nobody makes a film just for creating a film and showcasing to the world. Today, it's an industry. It needs to drive economy. And India being such a huge country, different cultural diversity across, so content will be always the king. And if we can continue churning out good quality film, short film, I'm talking of, feature film is a different category. There are short films, there are webisodes which we are doing. So different content format I'm talking of. I guess it's a huge opportunity. And as a nation, I think with the type of stories we have, which we can probably portray in different form, we can make animation movies, we can make animation film. It's not only live action film. There are various form of film which we can create. And I think we are in the fantastic space today. And all the budding aspirant filmmakers who are looking into it, for them, my 2 cents will be, don't restrict yourself by thinking it's only, you need a camera to make a film. You can today create a film even with a computer, right? What we call it is a computer generated imagery films or animation film. It's a story. You have a story. You please portray your story in the right format. And whether it's a virtual production, whether it's an animation, whether it's VFX, or whether it's a camera, these are just medium to tell a story, right? So we are in a we are poised in a very fantastic place now, and in fact it will grow. It will rapidly grow from here with digital layers coming in. I think it's a serious career opportunity for everybody who will be listening to us. And you should not see it just a hobby, because 20 years back or 25 years back when I started, nobody took us seriously, right? They were like just probably, a fad which will go away in 2 to 3 years. And even parents were not really happy, honestly speaking, on air, right? But today, I guess things have changed. We have so many students coming into our academy. That means there are supports from parents, right? New age parents are understanding that this is a serious career option, and more and more people is required in this industry. Then only we will be able to, command the position one or numero uno position, which we always look at Hollywood. Why can't India become the number one? That can only happen if more and more people, come to this as and seek it as a serious career option. Else we'll always be having that, shortage of manpower, which will be a hurdle for getting into the numero uno position.
Right. All right, it was really a great conversation, and I'm sure that our audience must have um, achieved some kind of insights on filmmaking. And thank you so much for letting us know the ABCD of filmmaking. And yeah, I'm
Thanks,
good.
Rita. Thanks. It was really a pleasure, talking to you, and hope I could share certain, insights which will be helpful for the, listeners, and they take the right decision of opting out a career, and this will really help us.
Thank you.